Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. I genuinely believe he's simply an outrageous egotist who loves power. He adores the capacity to control individuals. Why, in all likelihood, since he was misled by his coach who wanted to control individuals and his tutor was Andre. Well, let us know. How guided by Clive Davis my concentrate right presently is seen KSOK. Tell us why, explain to us why, since he's a dealer and he's utilizing music and diversion to traffic, so it seems to be Puma Wright is and taking her foot off of Diddy's neck at any point in the near future, since not set in stone to uncover him. And she won't stop at anything to guarantee that she releases every single one of his mysteries. Tune in. Puma is presently taking things further in light of the fact that she is uncovering Diddy, as well as Andre Harrell and the Clive Davis agreeing. As per her, the explanation Diddy stumbled upon the opportunity of a lifetime in the business is on the grounds that he was the Don Jaguar II and as well as Clive Davis. And get this, she is guaranteeing that Andre and Clive say Diddy prepared him, even had 3 children with him. Listen, you all better bounce in, cuz it's going to be a rough ride, cuz Panther. It's genuine spill. Currently, purportedly Diddy got kneeling down for Clive Davis in 1994, and that is the way Terrible Kid Records came about. Okay, so since Cassie dropped her claim, everybody has been considering how in the world one individual could be so mean and savage as to do such awful things to another person. Cause listen, the things Cassie discussed in the claim were unbelievable. It was the kind of thing you watch in films and keep thinking about whether this might at any point occur. In actuality, it's not like she was making stuff out of the meager air and attempting to shake Diddy down for some money. Right since the claim opened up to the world, a few groups have ventured forward to back up her cases. Certain individuals are in any event saying that she didn't spilled all the tea in the claim, and the circumstance was surprisingly more dreadful than she let on. The claim covers such countless parts of Diddy and Cassie's relationship, like the way in which they began dating when Diddy was 37 and Cassie was just 19 presently. I'm not the one to judge yet a person pushing 40 pursuing a 19-year-old that simply shouts a wide range of warnings, and you could believe me as though the age hole wasn't waving a sufficiently large warning. We should discuss how Cassie was endorsed to D's mark Terrible Kid Records at the time. So in addition to the fact that he was essentially more seasoned than her, he had her whole profession in the center of his hands. That sort of force dynamic in a relationship seldom at any point closes well, and it resembles that he put his focus on Cassie the second he marked her, and a piece of me is contemplating whether he marked her similarly as a plot trap to get her in a relationship that she was unable to escape yet. To add fuel to the fire, Cassie didn't precisely have an effective profession under Terrible Kid Records. Rather, she stood out as Diddy's eye candy rather than for her music vocation, which made it more irregular. Diddy was at that point involved with Kim Dorman when he began pursuing Cassie. Indeed, any reasonable person would agree Diddy's expectations weren't precisely honorable from the get-go. It didn't take well before Cassie wound up on the less than desirable end of Diddy's horrifying acts, supposedly transforming her into his casualty. As per what she partook in the claim, those 11 years with him were out and out a difficult experience. I mean, the court records even slapped a trigger admonition on the aim page in the event that wasn't meaning something bad enough. Then I don't have the foggiest idea what is. Listen, you all, I have never in all my years seen a court record with a trigger advance notice, and that is the way you all realize that this claim would have been an insane one. Of the principal things that she said in the claim was that Diddy S.A'd Miss Venter in her own home after she attempted to leave him, frequently punched, kicked, and confused on Miss Venter coming about inner's lips, bruised eyes, and constrained Miss Venter to participate in personal demonstrations with male SWs while getting off on it and shooting the experiences, requested that Miss Venter to convey his gun in her satchel just to make her self-conscious and show how hazardous he is, and acquaint Miss Venter with a way of life of unnecessary liquor and substance, expected her to acquire illegal solutions to fulfill his own addictions. Yet that is not even you all, since she continued forever about the things that Diddy did to her, particularly about how he put his hands on her at whatever point he blew up on one event, Mr. Combs' Miss Venter over and again in an Escalade, counting by kicking and hitting her. He constrained her out of the vehicle on Fifth Road in New York City. She was ultimately ready to taxi and get to her condo in Manhattan. Then, at that point, there's the time she went out to a club, and Cassie started up a discussion with the music chief in the club, and Diddy got so irate that he bluffed His top returning the court report said Mr. comes misventure, driving her into a side of the vehicle and puzzling all over when the vehicle showed up, and Mr. Combs' home misadventure endeavored to take off. However, Mr. Combs followed her and continued to again kick her in the face. Miss Venture was BL plentifully and was guided into Mr. Cole's home, where she started to hurl from the episode you all he would try and place hands on her before his own staff, and they'd all remain there watching him wreck. Ash over and over hurt Cassie now before we begin pointing fingers at his staff, and how they were Diddy's sidekicks. Let them tell it, they didn't have a very remarkable decision. Diddy was their chief, and as indicated by Cassie herself, they were similarly as frightened of him as she was, and their options were limited. She said these were seen by Mr. Combs' staff and workers of Terrible Kid Diversion and Mr. Cole's connected organizations. However, nobody thought for even a moment to oppose their start. Playing in savage chief, yet Diddy wasn't simply mean and horrible to Cassie. Turns out he was tremendously a beast to everyone in his request. Genuinely, is it actually that stunning, you all, in light of the fact that considering any individual who can cause that much harm to their better half is fundamentally a danger to humankind like no distortion, except for, get this, Cassie isn't the one in particular who got on some unacceptable side of Diddy's clench hand after the claim dropped report spilled on A.T. that he has a history with getting physical with each lady he's been with. Diddy's ex-guardian Gene spilled tea on how he used to lay hands on his then-sweetheart and child mother Misa Hilton. Tackle that for you, cause Misa was out, he was screwing with F the mana. From EPMD, that is the reason IP first, yet she wasn't the only one, since his side piece Gina, who additionally uncovered that Diddy mistreated her before all else, like the initial 3.5 years he was. Like the initial ultimate 3-4 months he was truly decent. However, at that point after that, he begun being like the initial 3.5 years he was like hateful toward me. So when you say mean, describe it. He was like continuously putting down me and consistently he was like intellectually, sincerely, and truly. He has even been blamed for mistreating Kim Watchman, since Jean stood in opposition to how Diddy treated Kim so gravely, to the place where she even began retaliating and shielding herself one night. All when they were at home at Kim's home on 10 Road, he needed to, put his hands on her in the incorrect manner, and Kim took one of those court scos and tore his wrist up and hit her conduit, and when she did that, he needed to rush over to Sloop Emergency Clinic. Presently recollect how the tea became spilled about Diddy transparently putting hands on Cassie before his staff. Well, he went into overdrive to stay quiet about his messy mystery. He was so apprehensive people in general would find out about his activities that he'd send projected holds up at private lodgings and excursions to recuperate now, before anybody begins to do some casualty, accusing Cassie of addressing or discussing how she remained for the cash and extravagant gig. I really want you all to hold up, full stop. Cassie wasn't simply sitting by and allowing him to hurt her. She attempted to break free on different occasions, yet she was endorsed in Diddy's name, and he held control of her profession. Diddy took control to an unheard-of level to keep Cassie in his grasp, as indicated by the claim that each time she attempted to break free, he'd wipe out individuals from the record mark on her fundamental, essentially telling her that she needed to get back with him or face serious second thoughts, which is an exemplary control move. However, get this, Cassie was never going to budge on leaving and, surprisingly, began dating Kia. Sai thought she could at last continue on, but Diddy wasn't having any of it. Diddy learned about her new fire and lost it. But he didn't simply take it gravely. He directly put hands on her and tossed dangers at her. Obviously, leaving would not have been a stroll in the park. The court records said that Mr. Combs told Miss Venter that he planned to explode the youngster's vehicle and that he needed to guarantee that path. See, I was home with his companions when it occurred. Around that time, Unit's vehicle detonated in his carport. However, he and Cassie weren't the only ones enduring shots with this wrecked adventure, did likewise get physical with his partner at the time. Capricorn realized about Cassie's issue, yet didn't narc to Diddy, demonstrating that she was a genuine rider or pass on for Cassie. Tragically, being faithful included some significant downfalls for Capricorn, and she experienced no doubt before everybody began saying that she made this up. Suge Knight brought this up on a new episode of his web recording where he supported up Capricorn's dislike for his, new news. And at the same time, he beat the out of mother. What's a young lady named Cassie or anything? He had a partner by the name of Capricorn. He felt Capricorn C was keeping his low about in the event that she was meddling with Kui, or on the other hand, not Puffy Beat. He likewise uncovered that Capricorn would have documented a police report against Diddy. However, somebody from Barry's Scope Records ventured into the circumstance and paid her not to think it was an encope.